Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Examine Resident Evil 5. This will be episode 7, I believe. You all know who you are, and my friends, family, and official biographers know me as David. So, last time on Let's Examine Resident Evil 5, Chris and Sheva had just battled their way through a amusing, yet, I would argue, ultimately pointless lost underground civilization diversion, and had just emerged into some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Nursery area, where they stumbled across some flowers, the logos of Tricell and Umbrella, and a glitch that cut the sound out of the game. Yeah, once again, still not entirely sure if you watched last video what happened towards the end there with the audio cutting out. I went back and played through that section of the game since then, just to see, and it was working fine that time. So either it was a glitch when I was playing through it the first time, I can't really remember because it's been a couple weeks since I played the first time, or there's something wrong with my capture software, which I'm fully willing to admit, seeing as, maybe something wrong with the software itself, or I set it up faulty, and, still, this is only the first, when I was playing these games, it was the first time I was using recording software. Capture software. So we're just doing a bit of a inventory shuffling around before starting up the level. This video is going to be a little truncated, probably only 45 minutes. Because I'm only going to be playing through one chapter of the game this time, but towards the end, I'm going to be doing a little diversion, which I'll explain when I get there. But basically, know that Chapter 5.1 is a prime chapter for playing through this game and just farming ammunition like crazy. We'll get towards that at the end of the video. So yeah, so we start in this underground nursery. Was Umbrella doing research on these flowers? Yeah, I mean, Sheva, I forget if it was Sheva or Chris, made the comment at the end of the video last time, you're underground, and how are these flowers growing here? It's like, have you never heard of hydroponics? They have these viruses, mutagens that can create all these terrible monstrosities, but apparently in Resident Evil universe, they have never heard of hydroponics. Yes, what I'm doing right now is I know there's some treasures on this side, but I can't entirely remember if they're up on the ceiling. And if they are up on the ceiling, I can't entirely remember where. But otherwise, I'm getting to show off sort of the light bloom features of the game. Which again, 2009 was, this was the cutting edge technology for video games. I think, quite a little quieter moments like this is definitely something that action games can learn from. Just decide. Oh, did I remember where it is now? I was just about to say when we get to the end, later in the video, I'm going to remember where the treasure is, and I'll pick it up then. And I think I remember it. Yep, it's one of those treasures that doesn't have it's sort of hidden down in the ground, so it doesn't have one of the blinking lights to signal to you what to do with it. Listening to this, and I've been playing some NES games recently, older 8-bit games. I think I've come to realize something about modern video games, for a large part. Modern video games. Oh, there's another treasure. My experience, I think there are definitely some exceptions, but a lot of, more modern action video games, don't really have... Ooh, here's a journal. Yes, this is a staple from the old Resident Evil series. Gonna leave a little cliffhanger in my previous comment. We'll get back to that. It's basically what we're gonna find a couple of these journals in this chapter, basically, or chapter level section. I forget what exactly. I think they're called chapters. Basically, they're gonna be the information of a researcher here at this underground Umbrella research facility, sort of detailing his time at this research institute facility. March 23rd. That's my sister's birthday. Over over 30 years before she was born, though. But that's my sister's birthday, 1967. You know, she was born much later than that. But yep. But basically, the journals are going to detail how those flowers that we find had something inside of their DNA or inside of them called the progenitor virus, which Umbrella is going to do some research on, and from that, yep, old style Umbrella machines. So there's really, yeah, more. I think this is good. Ooh, 31 years have passed now. Closed down the research center. 1998, I believe, was the same year that the first couple of Resident Evil games, Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, and Code Veronica, are supposed to take place. So, and November 16th, I believe, takes place after the Raccoon City incident sort of makes it the first few games in the series, leading to Umbrella shutdown. But yeah, the progenitor virus found in these flowers. I think I read. Ooh, tax day, April 15th. I think I may have supposed to read this journal before I got the computer. But the progenitor virus in sort of the Resident Evil universe lore provides like the template for all the other T virus, et cetera, that comes after it. But what I was saying right before I found the first journal is that, you know, thinking about, and again, there are definitely exceptions. A couple games come to mind that top of my head, but you know, for a large part, I don't really think that, you know, more modern video games, you know, really have very memorable music in them. You know, I would definitely press someone, you know, say a game in the last 5 years to have, you know, like a soundtrack that's, you know, very memorable, and something, you know, you would like listen to on your iPod. I bring this up. Oh, what the fuck was that? I bring this up for two reasons. A, because I've been playing older NES games, you know, Super Mario Brothers, The Legend of Zelda, Mega Man 2. And B, because this is a level that large sections of it go by where there's sort of no, you know, it's just ambient sounds whatsoever. I'm not bringing up the whole music thing as sort of a complete detriment, because I think that older, you know, especially 8-bit, 16-bit games.
To produce biological weapons.
How did you jump to that conclusion, Chris? Is that just like something you'd expect about like everyone? I don't know what they're doing with that chair, but I expect they could be using it to make biological weapons. Oh, I guess he did read the journal. But yeah, older, you know, games before they had, you know, modern sound chips, you know, weren't able to do sound effects like we have in games today. You know, like, just listen as I toggle through this journal. You'll hear the sound of the page turning. See, that's, you know, that's not really a sound effect. You know, let's say the original Legend of Zelda had to it. You know, they didn't have, you know, gunfire in their game and voice acting, so, you know, they had to rely more on music. You know, to sort of convey all emotion. I definitely think the best three examples of this are probably the Mega Man, you know, games I listed: Super Mario Brothers, the original Legend of Zelda, and Mega Man 2. You know, whereas today, you know, we have full voice, you know, fully acted, fully voiced cutscenes, characters in game. We have, you know, good sound effects. But I just think that's, you know, these are sort of the places that your mind goes to as you know, watch yourself play games, and you don't have a lot else to say about them. But I guess that's enough, you know, sort of me rambling on just some random topic. Talking about the level for a second, or a little bit. I actually you know, I like this sort of section of the game, you know, where you're in an underground. Ooh, that's not good. I like this section of the game for two reasons. One, I like this section of the game actually a lot, for two reasons. This level in particular. One, because sort of where it's placed in the plot layout, sort of timetable of the Resident Evil 5 as a whole is, you know, this is very much, you know, we'll get to the end of this and we'll see there. But at least this first part, look at the animation on Sheva's head. It's like going up and down. I like that. It's like following Chris as he turns the wheel. But this is just a nice, not necessarily breather level, because things, you know, are very tense in this level. It's like, okay, something's gonna happen. But this is, you know, definitely a respite from sort of the action-heavy set pieces. You know, that sort of quantify the last few levels and will basically completely dominate the game going from here on out. I like that animation of Chris pulling the lever right now, especially how he pulls out his gun. Something just scurried away. That can't be good. Especially how he held out his gun like that. I don't know why. But that's just one of those, nice little animation flourishes. Yeah, there's no other way to get out of that room except to break that glass. Which, if you're trying to, is kind of anathema to the idea of having, ooh. Okay, these are all these lab animals here. So I think that, you notice we saw a goat. I'm going to show some more in a, well, maybe I'm not. But I think there's a plot hole here. Yeah, I think that these animals are a plot hole. So this is established later on. Ooh. I don't know where to begin. Yeah, so this guy is a classic Resident Evil enemy starting Resident Evil 2. They're called Lickers. Basically, they're more, they started, I'm not entirely sure what they're doing in this game, but they started as a more advanced zombie. Their whole shtick was that they crawled in the sin, they didn't have eyes, and they attacked you with their tongue. So yeah, this is actually another reason, one of the reasons, eventually I'll get back to about why, the second reason I like this level. But just a quick thing, yeah, it's established that that I was saying about the animals in a plot hole, that this facility is supposed to have been abandoned for a year, but yet there are live animals in cages. I mean, I would call that a plot hole. I don't know about you. But yes, the other reason why I like this level, this section in particular, is how this is very much both a trip down memory lane for Resident Evil games, as well as putting a new spin. So what's happening? What just happened there is I should have been able to ask Sheva for that one bullet and stack it with my 48 bullets, handgun bullets. For some reason the game wasn't letting me, so I had to ask her for that one and then manually stack it. It's sort of a staple of all Resident Evil games, is at some point during the game, be it in the beginning, be it midway through, be it at the very end, you'll eventually come. Ooh, there's a weapon chest over there. Let's see what's in it. And I am just combining some herbs here. So, Sheva has enough room so that she can pick up whatever is in this case, which is a AK-74, not an AK-47. God, I keep getting sidetracked. But yeah, something, God, Chris. That's like saying, could this get any worse? But yes, at some point in all the Resident Evil games, basically you encounter an underground laboratory. And I just like that, that this game has its own unique spin on it. I don't really know why, but I just think it's a nice callback. I don't really know what that lever did. It opened that window up, but I'm not entirely sure if you have to do that. Maybe these buttons, I couldn't have used them. Oh yeah, making sure to reload here, because again, I know something's coming up. Because this is, one of those doors of no return that, you have to... I'm not entirely sure why, I like it so much that, this game has its own little spin on the, underground lab.
Guess their senses are weak.
But I do. Okay, I'm gonna restart here because I think you can get by these guys quietly. I'm not entirely sure, because spoilers, I'm not gonna be able to do it. I mean, from what Sheva and Chris say there, I'm given the impression that I should be able to sneak by these guys quietly. These Lickers quietly. Because if not, I'm going to get in a really big firefight here. What was I saying? Oh, yes. But I'm not entirely sure why I like...
Thanks for the help.
Oh, I do know what I like to say. Just because, some people, yeah, I'm not going to bother to open that because I don't need to. Oh, I didn't flip that switch because I was thinking, did that raise some shutters or something so Lickers could see me? So I'm not going to raise it. But yeah, some people, think it's a little cheesy. The, sort of the underground labs. I'm going slow here, you see. The underground labs in Resident Evil games. But I like them. I think it, sort of adds... It just adds something to the, a consistent... on the one hand, you want, same but different, right? It's one of those... It's a nice little consistent story element of Resident Evil games that... There's something about, evil, mad scientists in underground labs that appeals to me. And also it may be because... Wait, I don't know if I've revealed this information. I don't know if I want to out myself right now, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. It may be because I actually really like the first Resident Evil movie. The, Paul W.S. Anderson? Or, not Wes Anderson. One of the Andersons. Yeah, no, not Paul Thomas. I think it's Paul W.S. Anderson. I really like that first Resident Evil movie. Like, I know it's cheesy and doesn't have the best special effects, but there's just something about it I just, like, really like it. I think it's because that trope that I mentioned way back in the first episode that I like so much is the special forces guys coming in. Special forces guys coming in after something goes wrong and cleaning up. Okay, there's a lot of ammo here. That's not good. That signifies boss battle. Also, on my screen looking at this, it just went into letterbox format. It didn't do that when I was playing the game. Okay, so what I'm doing here is... I know... you know, I'm not going to necessarily claim that I discovered it, but... You know, playing Resident Evil 5, you know, right when it first came out, and, you know, sort of in the... You know... Resident Evil 5, right when it came out, when people still didn't really know things about it. You know, social media was, you know, 2009, so it was sort of right as social media was taking off. But I realized, for some reason, and I obviously can't remember the exact sequence here, is that there is a way of either restarting the game here or quitting the game. So that basically you pick these items up. You know, basically, you create a checkpoint when you get off that elevator. And I forget if it's you have to restart the game or you exit the game, and it'll remember what items you have. So basically what you can do is here is you can load this checkpoint up, like I'm doing. You can pick up all these items, and then what you actually have to do is you actually have to quit out of the game back to the main menu, and then load the game back up. And you'll have all these items you picked up. So you can just do that repeatedly over and over and get a lot of handgun, machine gun, shotgun, and grenades ammo right at that spot. Which at the end of the video is what I'll be doing to sort of farm them. But before that, we have to get through a boss fight. You don't have to agree with Chris. What the hell? Dun, dun, dun. Oh my god. Tricell's stolen the set from the end of Empire Strikes Back. It's the control room in Cloud City. Wait. You know, I've gotten fed up with it to this point. That was sort of the last straw. Why does that mean that Jill's gonna be here, Chris? Like, that has not, you know... Oh, actually, wait a sec, it does. Because you did see the pictures of Jill in, like, some, like, laboratory setting, so I guess it kind of makes sense. What the fuck just happened? Ooh, dropped an F-bomb. Sorry for the kiddies listening. So, wait. If each of those containers is supposed to have a person in it, and, like, presumably this goes down several stories, so Tricell's kidnapped, like, rough estimate, 15,000 people? Like, did none of these people, like... Jill Valentine. Did no one, like, notice these people missing? Or are they all like Jill, where they're, like, presumed dead? That's a nice shot. That's a very cinematic shot. That's, like, something you don't see in video games a lot. An angle like that. Just because, you know, even though, you know, people say that bitch about video games becoming, oh, they're too, like, movies too cinematic. I often find that, you know, video game directors don't really have a lot of filmic sensibilities.
Why?
This game I think is very good at having a lot of filmic sensibilities to how it's, uh-oh. No passing without a hall pass. I'm the hall monitor this week. Yeah, if this, I have to cough for a second. So, this creature is called the U8. Yeah, really inventive naming there. Sheva, we just shot the thing and, like, it fell down. Yes, this creature is called the U8. Basically, it's a giant armored spider-like monster. And this can be another difficult boss battle, just based on the fact that it's kind of unclear what you're supposed to be doing. So, Sheva's line, you know, its shell is, what did she say? Our bullets aren't doing anything. Sort of gives the implication you have to, like, that you have to use heavier weapons or something, maybe. You also saw that it did have a weak spot above its head. That sort of gives the impression that's what you're supposed to do. I think that works, and I think actually when I did this on my speedrun, I had infinite rocket launchers, so I was able to just blast it that way. But what I found to work best is shoot at the exposed points in the arms, and that causes it to sort of drop into that position. Yeah, again, don't bother aiming for that spot. It's kind of not necessarily wasting ammo, but wasting ammo. But yeah, just I don't know what I'm doing here because I'm good at doing stupid, wasting ammo. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing what I'm doing right now. Yeah, but I would recommend just continuing to fire at sort of the exposed joints on its big legs, and then get into that stun animation and just throw grenades in its mouth. I think it's 3 grenades, at least on normal difficulty, maybe more on higher difficulties. Can't entirely remember. But if you do that, yeah, it'll collapse and faint. And you can just throw grenades in its mouth and eventually it'll die. I don't know how I feel with those little animations before it swings at you. Yeah, because like you don't get an animation every time it attacks. Like that time where I got hit and knocked down. If I had an animation there, like when it reared back, I would have had plenty of time to dodge. So yes, this is this enemy, as you can see, it sort of mixes up its attack patterns, as it goes on. Originally just swiped at you. Originally just swipes you, then sort of does the claw swipe that, hits your thing where it rears back and smacks at you, and then like pulls back out and throws the body down. But again, I'm not really sure how I feel about this boss battle, because it doesn't really feel... I think that's gonna be the last one. Yep, it exploded. Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about this boss battle, because I think I said it a while ago, a couple episodes ago, that, I find the best... I think it was actually the first time we fought Batbug. The good boss battles are final exams to test your skills up to that point. I'm not really entirely sure what skills I've tested on that, except for shoot the weak points and use my context-sensitive actions. Oh, wait a sec. That's all that I've been doing in the game up to this point. Mind blown. So this, yeah, we're gonna get this look on Chris's face. So it's gonna come up. The pod here is gonna come up, and this scene right here, I think, is very much a holdover. The tension on Chris's face here, because it's empty. And he probably should have been able to see that.
Damn it!
Wow.
Where is she?
I like the just then the look of disappointment on his face, because he could see through the port there, right?
Who are you?
There's so much happening. I can't talk at all. I can't talk about what I want to. Excella we were introduced to last time. She was hitting on Wesker. What's the Global Pharmaceutical Consortium again? Oh, I think that it was that Tricell is a member of the Global Pharmaceutical Corporation Consortium.
Cut the crap.
Like the EU, and like France is a member of the EU. Or I guess actually better counterpart would be the WHO, the World Health Organization.
She's lying. She knows something.
How can you tell that? I mean, yeah, she does. I know that. But it's like, what? Like, you didn't have like enough like interaction with her to like establish that fact. Yeah, so here's where I make a decision that may not make for the best video. And if, yeah, it was the U8. And if you're just viewing, basically see me just play through the game, you know, don't care about any side crap, I'd recommend stopping here. Because what I'm going to do now is play through the level again, so I can get up to that checkpoint where I can basically farm as much stuff as I need. I'm going to play through on amateur. Because I don't like a challenge. Yes. So let's upgrade. Upgrade some more. Again, here I'm sort of demonstrating the fact of, oh, I didn't reload the weapons when I was done with them. So instead I'm just gonna sell it off. Now, do I have enough to talk about of this level to sort of justify me continuing to narrate it, or should I just... Oh, actually, I don't know what I'll talk about. I guess I'll talk about the whole, you know, I think I'll maybe... You know, from here right now, it's not going to be the most interesting discussion, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to offer my views on replaying through games, and replaying through specific sections of games in particular. So if that doesn't sound good to you, I'm going to say thanks for watching. Once again, this is a bit of a truncated episode, but I felt that the following part is important enough that I should include it, because you know, this is definitely how I play through the game, and sort of game the system. So yeah, if you're leaving now, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and leave comments below. We'll see you next time. Play this week. So
We can worry about this later.
now we are
We need to find out about Jill.
we're replaying through this section. So a couple things. I guess I'll start with a few things unique to this game, or specific about this game about replaying. So the first thing right there is you'll notice that replaying through sections, especially sections with a lot of treasure, may not be the worst idea, because you can farm a lot of gold that way. For that, I would recommend, if you're playing through this game, chapter 4-41, section level 41, whatever I think they're called chapters. God, I should really know at this point, right? I'm like 3/4 of the way through the game, 2/3 maybe. The section of the game that I played through on my last episode. In the tunnels, just because that was chock full of treasure. And yes, there are a lot of enemies, but I think you know, sort of net zero of ammo gained versus ammo lost. Yeah, so there's that, and so this game has the chapter section, which sort of has the chapter structure. Where you can, I'm not going to really comment on happenings in the level going from here. This will be my ramblings for the next 15 or so minutes. But this game has,
This is the facility for
you know, this is chapter structure where you're given the ability, you know, basically from the beginning to replay through chapters that you've beaten, completed. You can run through them, you know, to get a higher score, just to play through it again. Play it on a higher level, you know, decrease your time played through, higher accuracy, less lives lost, more enemies routed, more enemies killed, all the treasures found, etc., etc. And you know, and the fact that you can, you know, access levels you played through at any time, even without having beaten the game. You know, the fact that you can do it right from the get-go, you don't have to beat the game to sort of access that feature, I feel like is definitely incentive to players. And now it's switched out of letterbox format on my player. Oh yeah, the animals here. I still don't understand why these animals are here. I think this is a plot. I could be mistaken. I could be forgetting something that gets explained in like the next chapter, and if so, I'll sound like an idiot, you know, when that happens next time, you know, next video. But I'm pretty sure this is the plot. Yeah, I think you can act, you know, like, I feel a lot of games that have this sort of chapter structure, you know, I could actually be widely misremembered, but I feel like a lot of them, you know, actually now I'm thinking about it, a lot of first-person shooter games definitely have this. I'm not entirely sure about more, you know, just action-adventure games like this. But where are we going? But yeah, you know, this game, you have the option unlocked right from the beginning to, you know, play through specific chapters, which Sheva's head is doing that funny animation again. Which I think that option both adds something as well as takes something away. It adds something in the sense that you're not necessarily incentivized, but you are given the ability to run through, pick up extra resources, and sort of gird yourself, against upcoming challenges. But I think actually a good comparison to this is Resident Evil 4, which has a similar chapter structure, but I don't believe, even after beating the game, you ever have the option to sort of pick specific chapters you want to go to. Which means because of that, it's... Yes, if you want to play a specific section of the game over at Resident Evil 5 is good in that you can jump right to that section. But on the other hand, it sort of makes the game a very cohesive, beginning to end. And the other thing that this allows that I'm going to exploit here is the fact that by giving you the opportunity to get extra resources and gear up for battle, it's one more way that they just take all sensibility of tension out of this game. Because basically once you're done with the first level, once you're done with the first section of this, as I've demonstrated before, you can just go back through and play it on amateur anytime you need to get extra ammo. And then you're never in a position where, you're thinking to yourself, okay, I can kill this enemy with this magnum bullet, this magnum round, but that means I'm not going to have that later when I really need it. And that's definitely something that added, that, at least for me, and I think is actually really generally agreed upon, is one of the sort of main features of the original Resident Evil games. That you had to, really carefully manage your resource, and it gave it a much more immersive feel. In the sense that, your character can't just go back to an earlier part of the game and farm items and then come back to where this difficult part. It means, from very early on, your decisions have consequences. Your decisions have consequences, your gameplay style has consequences, and yes, I think there's somewhat of a feel bad, especially that first Resident Evil game where aim was very short stretch. So you feel bad, it's like, oh, this is my first time playing through, and I use up all my handgun rounds. I didn't, early on, I didn't realize I wouldn't really, I would need them later, and that, that makes me feel bad. But on the other hand, it's, it's like, well, that's part of the whole experience. And I think this... Oh, okay, so I'm killing all these guys because they all, they have like a 50% chance of dropping like a 3,000 gold piece worth treasure, and I know I'm going to get a lot of extra ammo, so I don't really care about wasting ammo. But what was I saying? But yeah, when you come to this game, where you can just, you have, besides the fact you already have high-powered weapons, and you have someone running around with you the whole time, and now the fact, that we can just sort of cheat the game where we can basically get, unlimited ammo, not unlimited, but virtually unlimited ammo. Then it's just one more reason why I really feel like there's just no tension in this game. Yes, so I am going to quit to the main desktop. So basically now you've seen the exploit exploited. And if you've been watching up to this point, maybe you want to. I don't know if you want to quit. If you just want to see me do everything, just want to hear all my commentary. I don't know why you would want to hear all my commentary, but oh, self-deprecating humor. Sorry there. But yes, from now until the end of the video, it's just going to be me just doing this loop over and over again, getting hundreds of shotgun shells and grenades, hundreds of pistol rounds, and thousands of machine gun rounds. When I was playing this out, now I remember, I was actually trying to beat my time, basically, for going through each loop. You see if I can do it a bit faster each time. You can try to plan it. Try to figure out my emotions. If there was a sort of phenomena of just speedrunning certain sections of games, I think I would certainly have the record for this little between getting off that elevator, picking up ammo, and restarting and starting the loop over. I don't really know if I would consider this. I don't think this is cheating. Yeah, I wouldn't consider this cheating. This is, this is farming. I think is the sort of agreed upon term in internet parlance, or in game parlance in general. And I don't really... Oh, okay, this loop I'm going to sell off all my treasures that I found. Break up the monotony a bit. I don't really know what I... This sort of gets into a dubious... dubious zone for me in terms of, you know... On the one hand, I'm doing it, so, like... You know, if I'm saying you shouldn't do it, then, you know, that's pot calling the kettle black. And you know, this is a feature that... I don't even... This isn't really a feature. This is me figuring out a way to use a combination of features that is a checkpoint system, retaining it, retaining items when you quit the desktop, and then loading back up to go to your original checkpoint. I guess the correct term is exploit, maybe? Yeah, this is an exploit. Because, you know, you have the term cheat, you know, like if you're playing, say, Contra for the original Nintendo Entertainment System, right? You know, that has a built-in code where you can get extra lives. You know, is that really a cheat if it's something, you know, if it's something built into the game? I'm not really sure. Drink of water. Talking about me looping through a game over and over and over is making me thirsty. Yeah, Shiv doesn't get a cool new gun. Chris gets a cool new gun. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to say. See, I would say that this would be a good time for me to give a review, you know, sort of my thoughts on the Resident Evil series in general, you know, because basically there's nothing else to do. But I think I've already done that, you know, pretty well. You know, I think I've done that pretty well. I definitely, you know, see two, maybe three sort of distinct eras of Resident Evil video games. There's the original era, which I would say,
Okay.
delineating them so cleanly. Oh, did she ever actually pick that up? Because if so, yeah. Delineating them so cleanly sort of muddles it a bit. I guess based on gameplay. Yeah. Based on gameplay, there's sort of really three eras of Resident Evil. There's the original era, which is very much, which is survival horror. You know, fixed camera angles, tank controls, item boxes, limited items in the game, pickups, you know, health, ammunition. Which basically lasts from the original Resident Evil. I'm just talking about the main Resident Evil games here. I'm not going to talk about, you know, Resident Evil Survivor or Resident Evil Outcast, any of the, you know, or Operation Raccoon City, any of the spin-off games. I'm just going to be talking about the main, you know, what I think are the main games. In that original era, I'd say, I'm getting actually really fast at this. The original era, I would say, lasts from Resident Evil 1996 to Code Veronica X. Oh, actually, no, I'm mistaken. Lasts from the original. Wow, actually, that is one. In terms of gameplay, lasts from the original Resident Evil to the Resident Evil remake in 2003. I completely forgot about, you know, the original Resident Evil. Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil Code Veronica X, Resident Evil 0, and it sort of comes to a full circle with Resident Evil Remake for the GameCube, which is just a remake of the first game with updated graphics. It's actually been recently re-released in HD on PCs, PC, home computer, Xbox One, and PS4. And if you're, you know, looking, I would say that's with its re-release, you know, in this year, 2015, I'd say that may be the best entry point. That's definitely, I would say, the Resident Evil remake. I've played all of them. Is definitely the sort of purest, best constructed of the old style Resident Evil games. And after that, beginning with Resident Evil 4 and 2005. Which is my personal favorite of the games. It's got this very postmodern is kind of a pretentious term, but it's got this very self-aware, both self-aware. It does a very good job of balancing the self-awareness with being a B game, B movie sensibilities. That's a game that doesn't take understands the joke, the fan base and sort of the attaché or air that Resident Evil's taken on. And then there's this game, Resident Evil 5, 2009, which is sort of right. If Resident Evil 5, Resident Evil 4, is like one side of a peak or right on top of the peak, this is just as it started to slide down the peak. Just coming down. And then I can't remember the exact. No. Resident Evil Revelations for the 3DS later re-released for the 360, PS4, and 360, PS3, and home computers, which is a return, which has the gameplay style of the Resident Evil post Resident Evil 4 games. Except you can move and shoot at the same time, which was quite an innovation. But returns to the atmosphere and sort of structure of the older games. I would definitely recommend checking that game out. Oh, yeah, here's a thing I realized. I'm getting all this. I'm getting all the machine gun ammo I'm ever gonna need here because it comes 50 rounds a case. So just sell off the extra stuff for money. Which actually is a little monotonous, seeing as how long it takes to, yeah, you see I'm doing it with pistol ammo here. But I can't, just flick down the counter and just get to the maximum number. I have to, cycle all the way up. Which, is frustrating, but on the one hand, I don't know why I just tried giving Sheva that. It's frustrating that's the case. But, I don't know. But on the other hand, I doubt the game developers ever expected players, to want to sell 999, to select 999 machine gun rounds, so. Yeah, so I'm selling off, oh no, I'm not. I was contemplating their, don't want to sell off the grenade launcher. I was contemplating here, selling off some, guns that I have, but I'm not planning on using at this point. So I think about money at this point in my playthrough of the game, because from here on out, there's definitely a oh, this is something I probably should have said before I started this second loop through. From here on out, going through, there's definitely a difficulty spike. There is a so the next level, the level after. Well, both of the next two sections, chapters, end with very difficult boss fights. On veteran difficulty, the highest difficulty, the next boss fight is probably the hardest fight in the whole game. Just because of how much the boss can do to you. So I'm sort of at this point, we're trying to figure out, okay, what's the most efficient way for leveling up my weapons? Do I have enough money to get, X, Y, and Z upgrades? Let me check the time here. We're closing in, so we have a minute left. For this section. So I'm going to go through the loop maybe once or twice more. But yeah, you can see that I've, amassed quite a large amount of pistol and machine gun ammo. And I have a fair amount of shotgun ammo in reserve. Also grenades. Grenades become definitely a sort of go-to backup weapon again from here on out. Especially because you're going to start fighting more enemies. They're closely huddled together. And grenades are just a good way of clearing out rooms. Yeah, you see I've got 35 grenades in reserve. Oh man, I was really fast about that one. But, let me see, any concluding remarks? Yeah, so, apology, I don't necessarily know as if I feel that I have to apologize, because for this short truncated video, as well as this weird second half of it, because as I said before, I'm doing my best to sort of convey, what it is to both strategy as well as the experience of really playing through this video game. And I feel that this is, even though this may not be the most interesting to watch, that this is definitely something that's helpful to do during the video game, during your playthrough of the game. And with that, dear listeners, we have reached the end of this episode of Let's Examine Resident Evil 5. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.